Hey, fellow murder peeps. I'm your host, Sarah.
And I'm Anthony.
Welcome to Bonding Over Murder, the show where I tell Anthony true crime stories that he's never heard of before.
Never heard of them.
Got a case you want us to cover? Email us at bondingovermurder@gmail.com. Today, we're going to be looking at The Children of God, now known as the Family International.
Oh, sounds religious.
It's our very first cult episode.
Oh,
So
okay.
I'm excited, but also, it's really gross. So there is a trigger warning for all of you, because we'll be talking about sexual abuse, mostly of minors. So, yeah, so skip this episode if that's something that, you can't handle.
Can I skip this episode?
No, sorry. Sorry, you can't.
Oh.
Yeah. All right, let's get into it. The Children of God was founded in the late 1960s by a man named David Brandt Berg. He was born in Oakland, California in 1919 and was raised in the Ministry Alliance Church where his father was a pastor. He too would become a pastor in 1949.
What religion is the Ministry Alliance Church?
It's just another form of Christianity. I think I read it was Pentecostal.
Oh, okay.
I think, yeah. Eventually, he would have a falling out with the church and resign due to, the structured church and blah, blah, blah crap.
Just spiritual differences?
Yeah.
Or ideological differences, maybe?
This took a toll on him, but it would eventually lead him to the belief that God had a special destiny and mission for him.
Ah, I always think that.
Right? Always.
Okay.
He believed he was the prophet for this generation.
Ah.
So this is the 60s, and the 60s at this current point in time are basically, that's when the feminist movement is becoming a bigger deal. That's when people are straying away from the church and going towards more, sexual liberties is what they call them. You know,
yeah.
Like having sex for recreation and not just marriage. This is also when the pill was starting to be discussed, and it was still a big taboo thing.
Yeah.
So at this time, there was a lot of distrust against the government and structured religion.
Yeah.
That's what the hippie movement, that's what hippies were all about.
Partly, anyways.
I know, yeah, advocating for change and more civil rights, basically.
Right, yeah. And then there was a lot of, fighting that movement. It was definitely a dark time in a lot of ways.
Yeah, so he believes that he's the prophet for this generation that's dealing with it.
You're right. Okay,
yeah.
Great.
So he moved to Huntington Beach, California, which is 7 hours south of Oakland towards San Diego, for all of y'all. In 1968 with his wife Jane and their 4 children to spread the word of his mission.
Oh boy.
So Berg was against the system and churchianity, which is a fun word I never knew existed.
Churchianity.
Churchianity.
Okay.
That's what it said.
Churchianity.
I don't know. So he tried to recruit people that were advocating for these changes and wanted liberation from the church and the government. So because he was against the system and against the church, the people that were fighting for these changes really felt like he had good ideas and stuff.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because he was more of less of an authoritarian figure and more of a rebellious figure.
Exactly, and people really resonated with him. There was one article I read that said that he would dress up like a hippie.
Oh.
To blend in, and then just, spout his, the system, is, bad, man.
Yeah, fighting the man.
Yeah. Exactly. So, here he would gain a small group of 35 members from this youth counterculture. That's, counterculture is basically just a way of life that is against the main social norm.
Far out, man.
Yeah. So that's what this whole era of people against the system and the church were called as counterculture.
Okay.
This is the counterculture era.
Right. Well, yeah, you know what? I mean, so basically, hipsters.
I guess.
Counterculture? They just go against anything of the mainstream?
They go against the norm.
Sounds so much better on vinyl.
The official definition is a way of life and set of attitudes opposed to or at variance with the prevailing social norm.
Yeah, that sounds like hipsters.
Yeah. They stayed in California until early 1969 when Berg believed that there was going to be a massive earthquake that was going to wipe out California's coastal cities.
And where did he get this information from? Just pulled it out of his butt? His butt told him that there's going to be an earthquake?
Well, I'm assuming he would say God, but yeah, probably.
The God in my butt told me there's an earthquake. Did he even have a vision or anything like that?
Not that I read.
A dream? No?
He just is there's gonna be an earthquake.
Earthquake! Well, people pay attention to me when I scream earthquake, so there you go.
Yeah, exactly. So he and his now 50 followers
Oh, good.
that were at that time called Teens for Christ.
Teens for Christ.
So
Why?
they
Why
weren't
is
called...
he has a family. How old is this guy?
I don't remember. Like I said, born in 1919, and this is 1969.
Okay, so older than that. Yeah.
Yeah.
1919. That's 50. He's 50 years old? This guy's creeping me out, man.
Yeah. Yeah, as he should. As he should.
This guy's really creeping me out.
Either way, so they weren't called Children for God or the Family International. Those names came later. At this point in time, they were called Teens for Christ.
Okay.
Yeah. So they moved to Arizona, but they would be quickly expelled due to them disrupting church services and for speaking out against organized churches.
Oh.
So Arizona's like, get the fuck out.
Okay.
Stop disrupting your church services, you fucking people.
Yeah.
So after this, they traveled across the U.S. and Canada to spread their message and recruit more followers.
As they do.
So around this time, Berg was also known as Moses David, or Mo. M-O.
Mo.
Mo.
Oh. That's just the trustiest man you'll ever meet. This is Mo.
And not even with the E, it's like just M-O.
That's sorry. Moses David.
Moses, as the Moses David, yeah.
Oh, boy.
Or he was also addressed as Father Moses or King David.
Ah.
So here is finally where their name was changed to Children of God, is when they got more followers and,
right.
and moved and spread the message.
And now they're starting to believe that this leader guy is like some kind of Messiah prophet.
Yeah. So near the end of 1969, the now 200 members established a 425-acre colony in Erath County, Texas.
Wow.
So he's just gaining more peeps.
You got a little private army now.
Pretty much. So a little bit about the rules in the colony, or the commune. Members were only allowed to use biblical first names.
Oh,
so if you had a non-biblical first name, then you had to change it. So, like, you and I think, would be fine.
Well, when's there a Sarah in the Bible?
Abraham's wife is changed to Sarah.
Oh.
It was Sarai.
Sarai, and then they changed it to Sarah. Okay.
Yeah, and then Anthony's in there somewhere.
Yeah, I don't know if there's an Anthony in there.
I'm sure there's
I know
Anthony.
there's a Saint Anthony, but I don't know if he's in the Bible.
We'll figure it out. They also had to give all their personal possessions to the commune and were divided up into 12 different tribes.
Oh, tribes.
Yeah, don't know why it's called tribes, but that's what it says, tribes.
Great.
So these tribes had their own work schedule and responsibilities, such as food prep, camp maintenance, gathering food from other towns, and taking care of livestock.
And then they vote each other off the island.
The colony, I guess.
You've been voted out of the colony.
That's a blessing in disguise.
Yeah, I was going to say, that sounds like the prize.
Honestly. I believe they were also limited with their outside contacts. Like, I don't think they were, like every other cult in existence, don't talk to the outside.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Like, this is Cult 101.
They probably worked all their members to the bone and everything like that.
Yeah.
Right.
Like every other freaking cult on the freaking planet.
So they're too tired to think for themselves. All they can do is just work.
And they changed their name, their new identity.
Cut them off from society.
Cut them off from society, get rid of their personal possessions, and make sure that they are just for the
and the leader is divine, and the carrot they're dangling
and
over
speaks to
them.
God,
yeah, and the carrot they're dangling over them is the forbidden information or the divine information.
Yeah.
The knowledge.
Yeah, exactly. So they had frequent Bible studies and discussions that resembled the 19th century revivals, which I had to Google. Apparently it was a movement, a Protestant movement in the States in the 1800s to spread religion via emotional preaching with emphasis on salvation during the Civil War.
Okay.
So they gained more followers that way to, like, during the Civil War, to, like, show that, yes, there is hope even in this bleak time.
I think that's probably where the phrase, like they baptize, they call it being saved, like, exactly. Are you saved? You know what I mean? Like, a very, very passionate, right?
Yeah, so they did stuff like that too. Their Bible studies and discussions were like that with the salvation, the emotional preaching, and stuff like that.
Oh, you can see why that would grip people.
Yeah. Exactly. There's also a Montessori School, which I had to Google again. There's words that
At Montessori, that's
just like Montessori.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, it sounds just like a dinosaur, like the Edmontosaurus.
No, just Montessori.
Okay. that's about.
So it's a school based on self-directed activity, hands-on learning, and collaborative play. So basically, it sounds like it's like homeschool.
Sounds similar to the high school I went to because it was self-directed as well, where you got all your assignments at the beginning of the year and you finish them at your own pace.
Yeah, I guess. By 1974, Children of God members had scattered across the globe to spread Berg's message and live communally.
Oh, lovely.
Most members had a history of drug use and claimed they had conquered it through communion with God.
Yeah, so he's, it's just like Tiger King, right? Like he's finding the vulnerable and the needy and filling that hole in their life, you know what I mean?
Way more successful than Tiger King.
Well, yeah, but Tiger King, I don't think he was trying to be a cult. I think he just kind of accidentally became a cult.
He wanted his husbands, and that's all there was to it.
He wanted his husbands.
And his cheap workers.
And he wanted cheap workers, and it kind of ended up being a cult. But I don't really know if he was smart enough to really make it a cult, so to speak. But
I don't know. Cult leaders are usually pretty stupid and crazy, so, I mean, he fits that bill.
I guess.
Yeah. So Berg communicated his teachings by creating the Mo letters.
Mo letters. Oh.
And it just looks so weird because it's just M-O, so it's like Mo. And I'm just like, what? The Mo letters, yes. So, which contain what he expected from his followers and what the norm should be.
I guess it's better than calling them Mo's.
Mo's letters?
The Mo's letters.
The Moses letters. Because he's Moses David.
Well, yeah, but that's the full name, Moses. I was saying like Mose from The Office.
Oh, I
Dang
know.
it, Mose! Little awkward run, stick up his butt.
Oh, I love his awkward. His members treated these letters like scripture and followed them vehemently.
Yeah.
So basically, this was their Bible, is his Mo letters.
Mo said so.
Yep.
What would Mo do?
God. That's so bad. Most of these letters encourage sexual activity with minors as young as 2 or 3 years old, among other forms of sexual abuse.
Oh!
I told you there was a trigger warning.
Why, Mo? Why?
Because he's a disgusting man. He's the worst human being.
I mean, I didn't see it coming. Like, it's just like, okay, earthquakes out my butt. And, I know what's best for society. Why the pedophilia? Where did this come from?
Oh, man, it gets worse. I'm sorry.
So,
I'm sorry, everyone. It gets worse. There's way more I have to go into.
Right, but I'm just saying, like, how did this guy get there? He, went from 0 to 100 in this,
Well, he's been a pedophile pretty much since day one. Yeah.
I guess that makes sense. I guess you don't just suddenly become a pedophile. But...
No, he was just basically the Mo letters were justifying his actions.
Yeah, that's what he honestly,
used them for.
It's probably the reason for his entire cult.
To satisfy his sexual desires.
Well, I was going to say to validate himself. He knew in his heart he was a pedophile. He knew where his desires were. He knew it wasn't allowed in society. So I think he went out of his way to create a new society
Fuck all y'all, I'm going to make my own colony.
Where it is acceptable behavior. You know what I mean? I think that was his end goal from the very beginning. Had nothing to do with the world's, natural state or the earthquakes or what's going on politically. He probably was just trying to create a world like that. Ugh.
Yep.
Gross.
So the first letter was called A Prophecy of God on the Old Church and the New Church, which, as I've said, is basically just him justifying his sexual actions to his and beliefs to his followers. In this letter, he also claimed to receive messages from God and that it was his duty to send it down to his followers.
Right.
Yeah, as we said.
I just don't know where he works in the pedophile angle.
For his,
I'm just saying, where does he work it in?
Well,
incidentally.
This is a move, he kind of fits it in with everyone's, the 1960s movement was basically, like I said, people were going from the old traditional ways to the newer ways, which is, kind of experimenting more and doing sex for recreation and stuff. So,
okay.
He kind of was...
Very gross. Yeah.
It is gross, but that's kind of he's free yourselves.
Yeah.
You're not, exactly.
Well, like you said, counterculture. And typically people are against pedophilia, obviously.
Yeah.
But, yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
Gross.
He also talked about being less like the traditional old church, like I said, embracing the new church ideals, which would give him the A-OK to leave his wife for multiple younger wives, which is what he did.
multiple younger wives as in 8-year-olds?
No, so he's 50 at this point. These women are 20,
Ugh.
23.
At least they're of consent age, but it's a cult, so they're probably not consenting anyways, or at least they don't have the capacity to.
No.
Oh.
So the wife that made the most impact on him was Karen, or Maria Zerby. She changed her name to Maria because Karen's not a biblical name.
Oh.
So she's Maria, or Mama Maria, is what people call her.
Mama Maria.
She's still in charge of Children of God today.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
We're still around.
I'll get into that later. After marrying his wives, in a Mo letter, he told everyone that he was going into hiding with a few close confidants.
Why?
To lay low. He was a paranoid dude.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
He would travel the world living in nice hotels and rental rooms in the suburbs, is what they said. At this point in time,
road trip!
Basically across the planet, different countries, multiple different countries.
Man.
Yeah.
Must be good to be a cult leader.
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah.
As Creed says, it's,
Well, I was thinking of that, but he says you have more fun as a member, but you make more as a leader. It's I think it's I think it's just you make more and have more fun as a leader.
The leader's the way to go.
Yeah, I don't think you have fun as a member. You just work yourself to the bone and then do horrible, horrible things, according to Mo.
Oh, man, it gets worse. Sorry, guys. Like I said, trigger warning at the beginning. Duck out now if you don't want to hear more.
So we got
no shame.
So far, on our list of things we have to do, we have to rob the grave of H.H. Holmes because he was robbing other people's graves. So
gotta do it.
Rob the grave, burn down the piggy palace. The doctor killed himself, so I think he's out. And then this guy, yeah,
he's dead now, which I'll get into.
But I'm going to say
probably rob his grave too.
I'm going to say saw him himself as a messiah. We should have crucified the bugger. That would be a way to go for him.
No, I think that would play into his whole. He's a martyr now, and he's Jesus.
His first second he gets that nail driven into his hand, he's going to be regretting his choices. I'm not the Messiah. I'm not the Messiah. I take it back.
Yeah, crucifixion is probably one of the worst ways to go.
There's worse, but it's up there.
One of, yeah.
It's probably the worst for the time invested into it because it didn't take much for Roman soldiers to crucify a whole bunch of people all at once.
Yeah, but you take so long to die.
You do, yeah.
And you're hanging by your...
There are worse but more dedicated tortures that required more time and effort, yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is a terrible way to go.
Yeah. So... At this point in time, the cult had around 10,000 full-time members and 130 colonies globally.
Wow.
Yeah. So this is what I was mentioning earlier. He encouraged members to free themselves of sexual inhibitions and encourage sexual sharing among adults in the family. So let's say we're in this cult. We would be able to have sex with whoever we wanted, basically, and they'd be able to have sex with us whoever they wanted.
Well, as long as they're all able to consent, then, good on you. Children can't consent, animals can't consent, and unconscious people can't consent. But if you're all adults that have the capacity to consent, have fun. I'm not worried about that part.
Yeah.
Please try and be safe. Don't spread all your little silly STDs all around each other in these super tight communes.
Oh, we'll get into that, too.
I imagine we will.
and soon. So, in 1974, the practice known as flirty fishing was created.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
What happened?
So, Berg believed that word of mouth was the only way to convert people, so female members were encouraged to have sex with men from outside the commune in an attempt to convert them.
While I have you want to talk about my cult?
Well, yeah, so it's more so you have sex with them first and be like, so now that I've satisfied you, and you're all, post-sex, tired,
oh, God.
Then let me tell you about Children of God.
Oh, it's not an illogical idea. It's a horrible idea, but it's not illogical.
The dude has 10,000 members, so I guess obviously it worked.
Oh my God, 10,000?
Yeah. So one of the worst parts is the women with the most impressive stats were called soul shiners and were highly respected among the family. So the more dudes he had sex with and converted to the cults, the higher up the totem pole you go.
Yeah. Well, it's just like a pyramid scheme, right? Like the amount of new members you can recruit, even if it's a distasteful way of recruiting, right? But again, if it's consensual, I mean, if these soul shiners wanted to shine some souls, then,
it's just it's crazy numbers though. Like Karen was also flirty fishing while she's married to him, and I read that she had sex with 18 different people 137 times at one hotel. Like 137 times.
Yeah.
Like just crazy.
I'll suck your soul clean for $1.
Alright. In 1983, members would begin to cut back on the sexual activity before it being completely banned in 1987 due to outside pressures and internal struggles from the women and other members of the commune. So people started having issues with it. Some people actually, I believe, left because they disagreed with it.
Okay. I mean, they kind of really went a different direction. The whole thing was founded on that kind of liberty and liberation, and suddenly people are just like, no.
Oh, I'll get into more what happens in the 80s, but that's just, we're talking about flirty fishing right now.
Oh, the flirty fishing was banned.
Yes, the flirty fishing was banned.
But not the overall everyone has sex with each other?
No, that's still intact.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
300 children are born from flirty fishing by 1981. These children were called Jesus babies.
Oh, no!
Due to this practice, STDs like herpes spread throughout the family, as we can all assume.
Like wildfire.
Yep. So everyone got the herpes.
Well, it was also a time of an STD problem in North America. So, I mean, I don't know about the rest of the world, but I know North America was having an STD struggle at the time. So, yeah, it's not a good time for these kind of cults to come out. There's just pockets of highly condensed STD areas. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So, as I mentioned before, Karen was part of flirty fishing.
Yeah.
So, on January 25th, 1975, she gave birth to Richard or Ricky Peter Rodriguez, which would later be adopted by Berg as his son.
Oh.
He was revered throughout the group as the Prince, and it was believed that he would guide them all when the end times came.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
That's some horrible pressures for that poor kid.
Yeah, his story is not a nice one.
Oh.
His story is the worst out of what I've read.
I was just expected to play hockey. This guy had to lead a stupid sex cult.
So, like I said, it's about to get worse, everyone, so duck out now if you don't want to hear it.
It's going to get worse before it gets better.
Does it get... Well, we get done, so that's better.
Yay!
So his childhood was very unconventional, as one article put it. I view it as very just disgusting.
Okay.
As most of his nannies were either topless or completely naked.
Oh!
His two main nannies were Sarah...
What are these nannies doing?
They're taking care of him, so they're the ones raising him.
The prince?
The prince, yes.
The prince is just topless?
They were hired by Berg to take care of him and have sex with Berg and to... this is going to get TMI. I don't know if you want to hear it, but they basically molested him sexually since he was born.
Yeah.
And then they wrote a book on it.
Oh.
And posted it throughout the whole group. And then all the texts about them touching his genitals and stuff as a toddler is just, it's bad.
It's awful.
It's bad.
Yeah.
It's bad.
Like I said, kids can't consent, right?
No.
But the other thing, too, like even going the opposite direction with males, I found even at a later stage, if they're not ready, they're not ready. I knew a guy in high school once, and he says when he turned 15, he was, I can't remember what country he was from, but his uncle had taken him to kind of like a brothel. It's kind of like a rites of passage, and he actually looked at the event very negatively. He found it incredibly invasive. He wasn't ready for it, and he said it was quite scarring for him.
Yes.
So it's even for guys, especially teenage guys, you always think like, well, they're just all hornballs and stuff. But even for males, if they're not ready, it's a traumatic experience for them.
And it was very traumatic for him, which I'll get into.
As a 3-year-old and a toddler, yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah, and then just the type of people that his nannies were. So Angela Smith was Karen's personal secretary and would also have sex with Berg, and she was one of his favorites.
Yeah.
Sarah is the worst one of the two, in my opinion.
Great.
She's such a fanatical follower that she offered Berg to have sex with her 7-year-old daughter.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Please tell me he said, I'm not in the mood.
I'm assuming that didn't happen.
Ah!
You're gonna...
Goddamn Mose.
Yeah. So, like I said, he was sexually abused by them since birth. Like, they would
Like,
molest
repeatedly.
him. Repeatedly. Yeah. And they thought, like, in the book, like, I read the excerpts. I'm not going to repeat them, but basically they were like, just, oh, how cute. I hear that we had such a good day, and we did this with him.
Oh.
And it's like, you were touching a child inappropriate. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Right, but again, they're not healthy. They're in a strange, messed up cult.
Yeah, we're not done with his story yet.
Oh, yeah.
So, and by the age of 10, he was put into the sharing schedules, which were lists posting which members got to have sex together. So they posted a list saying, okay, this member's having sex with this member, and, posted it throughout the colony.
Like a group share program.
Basically, yeah. He was
put in... ride share.
He was... Yeah.
Ride share!
No! That's going to ruin that for me forever. Yeah, so he's putting that at 10.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not laughing anymore.
No.
So, sad now.
So the book that was made on his, basically on how to raise a child and using him as an example, was released in 1982 called The Story of David Ito, which is also what he made, like David Berg made his last name or other name is David Ito.
Okay.
I don't know. Yeah, so it basically is the best, the strongest evidence they have of child abuse is that book, because members that left kept it, even though leaders later ordered them to be destroyed in what were called purge notices, where members were ordered to burn certain pages, white out pictures, or cut them out with X-Acto knives.
Wow.
Yeah, so they tried to get rid of the evidence later.
Because the government could catch on to this, right, and shut them down if they knew, and that's kind of what they were purging for.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
So just remember, this is before 1987, because in 1987, around the time that flirty fishing was, stopped.
Yeah.
He also banned sex with minors, and that he would excommunicate whoever did.
Wait, Mose said this?
Berg
is Mose.
Yes.
So Mose is I'm calling him Mose.
Okay.
Yeah, because I'm not.
Yes, Mose banned sex with minors, and that he would excommunicate whoever did.
It's weird. It's a weird turnaround this guy did.
I think he's just covering his ass.
Yeah,
because,
he's ass covering.
Testimonies said that it was very commonplace, and that girls as young as 9 years old would dance in see-through caftans and strip for him while it was being filmed. Yeah, I told you he was bad. This was also around the time that Berg's, get ready for this, sexually assaulted his daughter and granddaughter. Yeah.
See, normally I like to joke around in this podcast, but this one leaves me very little wiggle room.
People asked me to do this one, so here we are.
Mostly all I can do is just groan and be sad.
Yeah.
But,
yeah, we gotta rob his grave and then desecrate that one hardcore, because he's the worst one of the 4 episodes we've done, I think.
You say this every episode.
No, I know I say this every episode, but he wins.
Yeah, he wins.
There is a special place in hell for people that do shit to children. Like, just saying.
Yeah, he wins.
Yeah, he wins.
Yeah.
Hands down.
He had to have murdered someone, though. That's the funny thing. At least
No, I don't think he murdered anybody. Just lots of sexual abuse.
Yeah.
Which is worse, in my opinion.
Why are we able to joke about murder? What's wrong with us? Everyone's
laughing with us, so it's not just us.
It's been nonstop jokes. But this one I can't. There's very little way where, I'm laughing at the fact that this guy's an idiot, and I'm thinking of him looking like Mose. That's about as much as I can joke about so far.
Actually, I don't really, all the photos of him are in, black and white.
It don't matter. I'm thinking I'm looking like Mose.
I think he had a very long Santa beard.
Oh, God, the Santa beard. Let's get this over with.
Either way, in the early 1990s, homes of family members in several countries were raided by law enforcement for evidence of child abuse. So law enforcement finally caught on, but it was in the 90s after it was banned in the 80s.
Long after the majority of the damage had been done.
Yeah. So extensive investigations, of course, found no cases of child abuse because it already stopped.
And You know how, like, they say that the thing that'll keep you up at night, right, is like how they say abusers are usually the victims of abuse. So how many more victims did he create through the victims that he created? You know what I mean? Like, it's a ripple effect. If in this cult of thousands, you had hundreds of children getting abused, how many of those children grew up to abuse?
Yeah.
I mean, like, it's almost like a whole generation of abusers that this cult could have created.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that's a bad thought.
Yeah. Well, this is your favorite part of the podcast because he's now dead.
Yay!
In 1994, leaving...
Ding dong, Moses dead. Which old Mose? The stupid Mose. The gross-ass Mose.
The gross-ass Mose.
Ding dong, the gross-ass Mose is dead.
Oh, God.
Oh, laughter. Hello, laughter. It's good to see you again.
You're back. Welcome back.
Yay, Moses dead.
So this is where the church, or not the church, the cult.
The cult.
Yeah, kind of does a turnaround. So he left the cult to Karen, and she established a ministry of reconciliation to redress the failures of the past.
So why be in the cult? What was worth it? What in this cult was worth doing?
I don't know. So basically, they did a whole 180. So apologies were issued to members who were hurt under Berg's rule and, under, like, everything he
Berg
did.
started it! You all joined this cult for this Messiah moron! Like,
I don't get it either.
Like that would be like any other religion taking its main leader, Messiah, or God, and saying, sorry, that guy was a douche.
That guy's
we're not doing that anymore. It's like, well, do we still have to be part of this religion then? Isn't this like what we built it on?
They built it on the fact that there is going to be they basically think that it's going to be the end of times and stuff.
Still, start a new religion, man. Like, if your Messiah turns out to be a dink and you all know it, like, just get a new religion. Jesus.
Yeah. So she also implemented new policies on sex with minors. So it's even worse than, it's even, more taboo, forbidden now than it was when Berg made the rule.
Good.
Yeah.
You can't be too anti-pedophilia. There's no stance you can take that will be not enough against pedophilia.
Exactly. So in 2004, they changed their name to the Family International, which is what it still is today. So they have a professional website. They have a podcast.
Why? Why keep it going if you've already
I don't know. It is considered the most successful communal group to emerge from the 1960s counterculture era.
Great.
Yeah.
So happy that's the most successful one.
Yeah, so unfortunately, on January 7, 2005, in Tucson, Arizona, Ricky Rodriguez invited his old nanny, Angela Smith, as I mentioned before, to his apartment for dinner. Here, he stabbed her to death, then got in his car to drive to a small town of Blythe, where he called his wife to explain why he killed her before he shot himself with a semi-automatic gun.
Sorry, I missed that. Who got stabbed?
His nanny.
And this is the prince.
This is the prince,
The prince stabbed one of the nannies and blew his head off.
Yes, with a semi-automatic gun.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's dark.
Right? Yeah, it just kind of happened very quickly.
Man. Well, but it's sad, right? Because he targeted his nanny, his abuser, right? Clearly,
one of his abusers, yeah.
Yeah, one of his, clearly that, there you go. It was not looked at very fondly by him. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
It was something that tormented him.
There's things that he says. So he recorded a video the night before containing footage of him showing off weapons and loading a gun. He also said he saw himself as a vigilante who is avenging kids like him and his sisters.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So that, there you go. That was definitely something that tormented him.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
I can't even imagine the psychological trauma that would happen from being molested since day one of your birth.
Yeah. No, I know.
Everything is sexual for you since day one. You know nothing that's not sexual. That must be so jarring and confusing and
no, exactly. I can't imagine.
Yeah. So this reignited investigations into child abuse in several countries, and some members were arrested, but no convictions of top leaders, though.
Yeah.
But some people were arrested for it, so
Well, okay, but I mean, if they joined the cult for this reason, just because
Well, they joined it for the beliefs, not the sexual stuff.
Right,
that
but
just
it was
came
still
with it because Berg is a weird fuck.
Right, but they joined a cult that clearly idolizes that behavior. The diehards or the pedophiles that join that cult are not going to suddenly stop being pedophiles. You're still going to find a high degree of rot all throughout the community. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Ugh.
Yeah, so, there are still some people, there was one article I read, that this dude in the UK was arrested and, for having sex with minors, and he was Children of God, or the Family International. They say that he was excommunicated years before, but, so it still happens occasionally.
Okay.
So...
Yeah.
I think they really cracked down on it now. They're really, I think, trying to turn over a new leaf. But I feel like she should be kind of responsible for something.
Just shut the thing down, man. It was founded on a foundation of disgusting, ideology. Just if you believe in something different now, if you've completely done a 180, just start a new cult, man. If you need to have a cult or a religion or a following, that's fine. But if you're going to completely change the foundations, what are you still doing here?
Yeah, I don't know.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. So today, the Family International are trying to change their ways. As I said, they're trying to do kind of a 180 and be an actual church community and Christian community. So they now send aid workers and missionaries to natural disasters.
They can't call themselves a Christian community, though, because they'd have to believe in Christ. And
I don't think so. I don't think they do. I don't actually know. I looked on their website for funsies.
Does it say anything about being Christian?
I don't remember, honestly.
You think Christian, the word Christ, you'd have to be like a Christ believer to be a Christian, right? So, which would separate, Christians from Jewish and Hindu and Buddhist, all the different religions.
Yeah.
The Christians have that in common. Of all the many, they should all believe in Christ, I think, is kind of what distinguishes them. So it'd be weird if this cult who believed and then did they stop believing in Moses and then start believing in Christ? Did they shift that drastically?
I don't think so. But they are basically missionaries and aid workers now.
Aye.
They also have a singing group called the Family Singers who have sung in the White House.
What? Who let them in?
I don't know. It just said that they've sung in the White House a few times. I'm like, why?
Because Trump, maybe?
No, this is early 2000s. So this is 2006, 2004.
Oh, Bush.
Or was that?
That's Bush.
That was Bush?
Yeah, Bush was in with the terrorists of 9/11. Bush was in office then, so 2001.
Right.
Yeah. That's
For some
Bush.
reason, I keep thinking that's Clinton's time.
No,
I know that's
he's in the
earlier.
90s.
Yeah. So we're done.
Fool me
You're
once.
done. You finished.
Yeah, fair enough. Good.
Yeah. So long story short, some really disgusting dude made his own cult to satisfy his sexual desires to have sex with children. So disgusting excuse for a human being.
Yeah, ew.
Yeah.
Just
very,
ew.
very much ew.
What did he die of? Please be slow and painful.
I couldn't find that.
Oh, it's always the way, isn't it? It's always a quick, nice death for these dudes.
Well, like I said, they kept traveling. Nobody even knows where Karen is for the most part. She keeps traveling everywhere too. Ricky was only in Arizona because he heard that she was going to be there, and I think he wanted to confront her too because he, in his little video, said that his mother also sexually abused him.
Yeah. It's not even about the faith. I guarantee you, the reason Karen is in charge and everything is because she just wants to be in charge of something. This wants to be in power because, again, if the whole foundation and your Messiah are disproved and thrown out the window, why keep it? Well, you kept it because you've already got 1,000 followers or 2,000 followers or whatever they have. Why throw away perfectly good followers?
Yeah.
Just follow me. I'll lead you to a promised land or whatnot, whatever. I don't care.
To the communes, or I will lead you to the end of times.
I will lead you to the Arby's.
The Arby's of Apocalypse?
No, just Karen and a bunch of culty people sitting there eating those beef and cheddars.
Oh.
Beef and cheds.
Oh, God. Why?
I like the Arby's sauce, man. You drizzle a little bit of that Arby's sauce on, it's good. Don't give me that face.
I'm giving you that face. That is the face I'm giving you.
Arby's is delightful.
Let the record show it's the face of disgust, just so you guys know. Because you can't actually see what face. It's a judging, disgusted face.
A pile of meat on a bun. It's genius.
Yeah, but they put way too much seasoning salt on their curly fries. Either way, thanks for listening to our podcast. Check out our website, bondingovermurder.info, or find us on Instagram at bondingovermurderpodcast to hang out and just get some new episode info.
Yeah, cool stuff. And don't forget to follow us wherever you listen to your podcasts.
Yeah, well, have a good night or good day.
I don't think you guys are going to have a better day now that you've listened to this, but yeah. Try and recover from this. Listen to some happy music.
All right, bye.
Bye.